and so you can't have a real conversation with him. You know what I mean?
No, yeah,
About
you're gonna get the, oh, he'll be back, he'll be fine. Like, it's worth it. What about his contract? Well, who cares? Like, it's the Red Sox, they have the money. Well,
yeah.
they want to go over the tax. Well, who cares? What does that even matter for? Well, you lose draft picks after a while. They don't matter. Okay, we're done here.
Right, and that's a good point about the luxury tax because usually that's a big deal, and the only reason it isn't is because where we got under it last year, the penalties for the first year, which is this year, aren't really that bad, and they might go over it next year as well. But I guarantee you, the year after that, they're going to stay under it because they need to reset it again before the penalties get really severe. So,
Yeah,
like,
you can't lose first round draft picks. That's when it
right.
gets bad.
Right, and last year they just wouldn't go over it, so that's why you get Eduardo Nunez as your July blockbuster.
Yeah, and like, that's okay if they want to do that to stay under the tax. I totally get it. But if they're going to go over, just hammer it, go way over, bring in the guys you need to bring in, and figure it out next year. I wouldn't bring in guys with like 4 years left in their deal with like 80 million to go, but a Ziegler, a Castro, and a Steckenrider, where it's like, okay, Ziegler's done after this year 9 million, whatever. Stephen Pierce is 6.5, so you can cover Castro right there. So you know what I mean? It's just, if you're gonna do it, just go do it. Just go get the players that will help this team the most.
You know what my dream scenario is? Like the first guy I thought of when they said they were willing to go over the luxury tax was Joey Votto. And people are like, oh my God, he's 35. And I'm like, yeah, but when he was 34 last year, played all 162 games, hit well over 300, over 30 home runs, reached base safely in 150 of those 162 games.
He doesn't want to leave the Reds, though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I know.
He has a full trade, and he doesn't want to leave. And Scooter Gennett is following in his footsteps because he's already said he wants to sign a huge extension there and stay there for a long time, which is wild to me to think that at a young age in his prime, he's like, I want to stay in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's my second favorite team, honestly.
Oh, really? I mean, they got.
Yeah.
I don't get about the Reds, and it's probably just their pitching, and I know it's their pitching, but man, they have like 3, 4, 5 guys in their lineup that were either all stars or could have been all stars. So,
Yep.
Like, why do they lose so bad? And then Iglesias,
the pitching blows.
Yeah, and
the pitching blows.
Like, it's so bad, and you just look at it and you're like, I don't even know these names, and you hear the names, and you're like, oh, those guys. You know what I mean? Like, because you look at the ball. I mean, Homer Bailey, I don't know what he does anymore besides
he blows.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
blows. Yeah.
Like, he doesn't do much either, but Iglesias is nasty, and you got Hernandez and Hughes on good deals, and it's just funny. It's funny that you just, that team just can't figure it out pitching wise because their lineup's good.
Well,
yeah, they're not like a Marlins team where the Marlins are like unwatchable. Like if the Red Sox aren't playing or if the Red Sox are playing, I'll throw the Reds game on my iPad, and like they're watchable. They get hits, they get home runs. They score some runs. The Marlins are unwatchable. That's the most unwatchable team in baseball.
They're brutal. It's funny. Like you look at this team on paper and you're like, Barnhart, great catcher in this league for what he does. Joey Votto.
Right.
Yup. Gannett. Yup. Suarez. Oh, yeah. Perez. Billy Hamilton. If he gets on base, watch out. That's crazy. Duvall, pretty good. And then it just goes way downhill. But it's just crazy how good
Duvall's had a bad year. Jesse Winker's good, though. He's pretty good in right field.
Yeah.
And he's young, too. So.
Yeah, Iglesias was one of the better closers in the National League. And
absolutely.
It's just like, what on another great deal. Like
that's why, in a way, I think the Reds should keep Iglesias. But
it depends if he's going to resign. If he's not going to resign, get rid of him because you're not going to contend the next year or two. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
So you don't want a Baltimore situation where your team's not ready. Like Scope's going to be 27 when he's, his next year's 27. Iglesias going to be So
didn't they get bad returns though on Chapman and Todd Frazier?
Yep. Yeah, they brought in nobody, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean that's just what I hear. Talking to other people.
The Cueto deal was like supposed to be a decent one, and Brandon Finnegan was supposed to be really good, and he just hasn't panned out for the Reds.
Yeah, so that's really good. He's on a great, he's young, 25 years old. Obviously a great contract. He just hasn't been. And he could still turn
good.
He's a first rounder, and he's a pitcher.
Yep.
They take a while. But yeah, I mean, just not good. Last year he had over 4 ERA. This year there's like an 8.
That first year, though, he was, I think he came up the year he was drafted and pitched very well for the Royals in 2014. He was pitching in the playoffs even.
Yep, that was the year.
And just fell off after that. They must have known something, because why would they give him up, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. Could have been something. Yeah, you're right. Could have just been.
But the Reds have some good prospects. Like, I like Hunter Green. I like Nick Senzel. I like Taylor Trammell. So we'll see what happens in a few years.
Let's talk some Dodgers real quick, because they got Manny Machado now, so he's going to play shortstop in place of Seager. And I'm just wondering, like, should their priority have been a pitcher the whole time?
No, only because if they get healthy, they're fine.
Okay.
They're in a weird spot. Like, they needed that extra bat in the lineup, and they needed that position filled. Like, I don't know if Matt Kemp's going to do it all year. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah, I know Bellinger isn't having a good year, at least compared to last year.
Yeah, he struggled mightily at the beginning of the year. He's finally turned it around. But if you get – so Kershaw, by all means, is trending way up. He's probably going to be ready to go for the playoffs, like 100% or close to it. Behind him, you have Ross Stripling. Ross Stripling now has qualified to be a starting pitcher, and you can count his ERA, his innings pitched, his wins, his whip, and he's like number 2 in like multiple categories. He's unbelievable this year. He's going to be your number 2 in the playoffs. You only need one more. Between Rich Hill, Alex Wood, Maeda, and Walker Buehler, you'll find the third starter there. So I feel like they did need that extra bat big time.
I thought I heard that they were worried about Stripling's innings, though, and were gonna.
They are.
They are, because he's never been this. He wasn't a starter.
Right. So I just don't know if he's going to be getting a lot of starts here in the second half, anyway.
No, he might not. But but you know, they're getting guys back in playoff time. He'll be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if they're going for a guy just to eat innings, like we talked about before, like a Matt Harvey or a James Shields, a guy that you're not going to pitch in the playoffs will help you get there, they wouldn't have to give up the big names. They could still go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm looking at their rotation now, and I guess it's fine. I mean, Maeda is pitching fairly well. Alex Wood still has enough time to figure it out, and I'm not sure what's going on with Rich Hill, but I think he might have had some blister issues.
He has, just like he has every single year of his career.
Yeah, he was really good in the playoffs for them last year.
He was. It's just, and the signing that they gave him, it's weird that they signed him to a 3-year deal because he's 38 years old right now, and he still has another year next year. But he's been, really good every year up until this year. So, I mean, recently, obviously, coming back with Boston in 2012. 13 was not great, but 14, 15, 16, 17 were phenomenal.
Yeah. So. And, I mean, who saw that coming, though? I mean, he was out of baseball. He had an infant son pass away. I mean, he literally went through hell and back. I think 2 Tommy Johns even, and was...
Yeah, yeah. And he deserves it. Not many people deserve it more than him, but...
Yeah.
If he can get ready for the playoffs, too, or just come back and be a serviceable player, so... They needed the Manny Machado. He solidifies that lineup. He solidifies the left side of the infield now. Him, Turner, and Bellinger is an unbelievable infield with Forsythe in there and Utley and second base and Max Muncy and all that. So I mean they're ready to go for the playoffs now. They just got to get healthy and they'll be a tough out. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the NLCS against the Cubs again. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed because I like the Diamondbacks and.
I like the Diamondbacks too.
Yeah, I think they're kind of scuffling a little. I don't know if Robbie Ray has turned it around yet. I think he's back, but just not pitching well. And then Shelby Miller has just been god-awful. And I think Buchholz is on the DL for them. Shocker.
When isn't he on the DL?
I know. I actually think he's coming back this week to make a start.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, so finally.
I didn't think it was going to be long-term, but I laughed when I saw the headline that he was on it.
Oh, yeah, it's just classic.
Yeah, and Torey Lovullo is a great manager, but maybe even the best manager in that division. So, So who knows? He might.
I think Dave Roberts is overrated, to be honest with you.
Well, I think they're an analytics team anyway, so I don't know how often he's really calling the shots. I think he's just.
I don't think he's as useless as like Aaron Boone, because I honestly think no. But I think he does have some knowledge, and he can play the National League game. But yeah, he's more of a puppet out there than a legitimate manager. I don't know if you put him on the Diamondbacks 2 years ago. If you put him on, I don't know, Oakland, that he's going to be doing, what he's doing out there on a fringe team, a team that's close.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess the Dodgers did good then, and I'm obviously going to root against them, but they're less hateable now that Gonzalez is gone, though. So I guess there's that. And they did bail us out after all.
They are saving grace, man. I don't think that team's. I think it's hateable now that Machado's on. I don't like Machado, so
yeah, right, true.
I think it gets hateable again, but I don't hate teams that win a lot. I don't know. That's kind of like a weird thing in life, is that if you're successful and you do it the right way, teams hate you, and players hate you, and people hate you.
Right.
Like the Yankees, I get it. The old Yankees, everyone hated, including myself, because they just bought every single team. They didn't develop prospects, and if they did, he was a first-round pick that everyone knew was going to be great. So it wasn't anything great. But the New Age Yankees, who I still hate because they're the Yankees, but it's hard to hate the New Age Yankees. It's like, what did they do? Well, they went out and traded for Sonny Gray and Giancarlo Stanton. You have to make the trades with prospects, so good on you. They drafted, Sanchez, Judge, all these, Clint Frazier, who they got back in a trade as well. They drafted young guys that were great, that are panning out, and they traded for young guys that are great and panning out. So it's tough to do that. And LA is kind of like that same way, where a couple of years ago they bought the entire team. But now they're starting to bring guys in that they traded for or drafted, and they're starting to come up. And I'm like, oh, okay, this team's not that bad.
Yeah, well, they have the old Rays GM, his last name's
Andrew Friedman.
Andrew Friedman, yeah. So that probably had a lot to do with the turnaround. Because he's used to, making teams out of nothing. So now you give him a huge payroll in addition to his existing skill set, and that's should be a recipe for success. But they shot themselves in the foot, though, in the World Series. They should have started Alex Wood in Game 7, who had like a no-hitter through 6 innings in Game 4, and you were only going to use him for a few innings anyway in Game 7. Then you were going to go to Kershaw, and then you had, you had Jansen, and I think they had one other really good reliever at the.
That's Dave Roberts right there.
Morrow, Brandon Morrow.
Oh, Morrow, correct.
Right, they had Morrow in there.
They could have, if Terry Francona or Torey Lovullo is managing that Dodgers team, reasonable chance they win Game 7 if it's managed the right way. But the analytics, I think, is what did them in at that point. And they kind of shot themselves in the foot in Game 2 when they wouldn't let Rich Hill go through the order the third time. But they seemed to smarten up his next start out, because he went like 7 strong and only gave up 1 or 2 runs in Game 6 to force the Game 7. So it was just tough to read what was going on, and AJ Hinch was doing a juggling act because he didn't have a bullpen, and Morton pitched I think the last few innings of that Game 7, and so it was just kind of interesting to watch, really. And thank goodness.
I think he sucks too.
You think AJ Hinch sucks?
Yeah, I don't think he's very good.
Really? I haven't watched him enough, but his team plays for him though. So
well, yeah, okay. So in that regard, he's good. I don't think he's that great at managing a game though.
Well, I think he's a great players manager.
He is a players manager.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I agree.
He gave a great speech at the end of, I think it was when they beat the Yankees in the ALCS, and they were all kind of like huddled in a circle before the champagne started going, and he starts off the speech by saying, you guys need to take this in and really enjoy this, because this might be the greatest team you ever play for the rest of your career. And I just thought, wow, like the hairs on my neck stood up. Like, I love moments like that. And
I agree.
You hear that was it the Notre Dame coach